a later point. So thank you for joining us today. I apologize for those of you that joined early. We had a little bit of technical problems here in the room, but we're going to make it work. I'm going to stand hovering over my computer and try to repeat any questions so that you all can hear online. So thank you for joining. We're going to learn how to do online requisitions today. We're going to process them hands-on. That's pretty much all we're going to be doing is practicing. So let's get started. So the intro to online requisitions, we're going to talk about just briefly why we're doing it, why we're changing it. We're going to actually show you how to process hands-on testing and the link in the chat. Can someone do you know how to link?
I don't think it will work.
In the chat?
Maybe.
Okay, we'll try to link the same training user folder. All of the documents are in that same shared folder for today's training as well. It's the same link from yesterday. So let's start off with procurement. We have three procurement options. We have your procurement card. You have your new JP Morgan procurement card. You have the option of the purchase order. And in that purchase order, you pay for your commodities, and we also have direct pays are your options. The P card, you have your $500 single transaction limit. You also can use that card for travel. So if you're booking your hotel, your expenses related to your air, if you're renting a car, so forth, you have your P card as the option. And like we had said in training, you can call us and request an increase, a temporary increase for any of those types of charges that need to go through that exceed the $500 amount, because it would be nice for you to be able to book your hotel and your travel arrangements on your P card. So if you do need that increase, you just notify Donna and as backup myself, and we can make that adjustment for you. The purchase order is think terms and conditions. For every order that you make on campus, before you commit to a vendor, you need a purchase order. That purchase order is what should be committing you to that expense, not a phone call saying you just want to, like, for example, one things that we do here, we book a lot of buses, we book a lot of transportation services for our students for when we make trips. We have things called blanket orders that you can enter a requisition online for a certain amount of time, and that blanket order should cover a certain dollar amount, and then any invoices that come, any expenses can be paid against that PO. That's easier than sending the invoices after the fact. We need the vendors to comply with our terms and conditions, and if they never get a PO, then they can't do that. So we'll talk about that. Direct pays should only be for things like membership renewals. Because if you have a membership and you're just renewing, it's just a flat amount. If it's over the $500, then you'll need to do a direct pay for that. What we do let's see, direct pays. There's no goods or services for direct pays. We should do the purchase order ahead of time. Let's go to the next slide. One thing we did do was we updated the purchasing flow chart. We caught an error this morning. The P card limit, the monthly transaction is 5,000. On the flow chart, it said 9. So we're getting Stephanie to update that. But this is the flow chart. It helps you decide what purchasing option is best for the criteria that you're trying to purchase. So if it's less than $500, a P card is the best method. It's just for commodities that are just quick and easy. Remember, if you're making that order online, you need to make sure that you do the ship to address, make sure that it's coming to your attention so that when the item does arrive, that our mail center, our central receiving office, knows who to deliver that item to.
They're having a hard time on Zoom seeing it, the presentation, I think, because we are seeing the next slide.
Okay.
I don't know.
How about now?
Yep. Yep, perfect.
Okay. Um, so this this was created by, I think Mary Beth worked on this with Stephanie back a year ago, but we've just recently updated it with our new P card limits. The purchasing threshold still remain the same. So anything below $4,999, it's only the budget manager approves. Anything that is over $5,000 but below the 10,000 threshold, the manager in the department and the department's VP signs and approves that requisition. Anything 10,000 or more is but both the budget manager that's entering the rec, the manager of the department, department VP, and possibly the VP of finance and administration signs anything over 10,000. Remember, you have your purchasing thresholds that if it is over 10,000, you do need your 3 quotes, but these quotes need to be apples to apples in comparison. It can't be because they have a Walmart brand that it could be cheaper than the actual Johnson and Johnson brand, or that kind of thing. It has to be apples to apples when you're comparing quotes. Anything 50,000 and above needs to be a sealed bid. You can work with Matt Oganowski on anything of needing to go out to bid. So this is nothing new. Anyone have any questions about this? Yes, Glenn.
So, do they sign the state's terms and conditions? A lot of the stuff that we do, they have their own terms and conditions, but I don't know if we're not supposed to sign that, just have them.
That is correct. Only the VP, there's 3 signature authorities for contracts. That's Jay and Josh as backup, and then the president. So they have to sign all contracts. So if the vendor doesn't, won't sign our terms and contracts, you have to take it to the VP, and he can decide whether or not he wants to assume the risk associated with that. But we always say it's best, our terms and conditions supersede theirs. It overrides theirs. So it's best not to do business with a vendor that doesn't accept our terms and conditions. But I know a lot of the community colleges are experiencing the same thing, is that we have so many vendors now that just won't agree to our terms.
They won't have to sign.
Yeah, I think it's going to be individualized, and it's up to the VP if he wants to take on the risk. Okay, so no more processing IPRs. We've been saying that. I think that's the biggest takeaway from today. No more IPRs. Let me add this caveat. No more IPRs for 27 purchases. We did have a conversation, Donna and I and Will, yesterday about process. We don't have a process in place for anything for 26 that needs an increase to the PO, anything like that. Anything that's 26 related that we need to process an invoice, still follow that same procedure. So if you do need to submit an increase in a PO, you're used to doing that via IPR, go ahead and do that. But anything new for 27 needs to be done with this new process and not by an IPR. You're going to key it in online via the requisition and self-service banner. This online requisition allows you to be responsible for your orders, allows you to communicate with your vendors, and you can enter the quotes, you can attach the quotes, same way that the IPRs did. We advise that you check your budget prior to entering the requisition. Like if those of you that attended yesterday's training, that now that you're in the system and you're processing in real time, like the rest of the finance office and the rest of the departments, things can change between the time you want to key it and the time you actually sit down to enter the requisition. So just before you enter it, make sure the requisition has enough funds to cover what you're wanting to process. Like I said, do not commit to a vendor prior to the PO. The only situation would be if you have a P card and you're going and you're in person and you're going to pick up the item while you're there, say Mackey's, you're giving them the PO, you're going to pick something up real quick and come back. Anything other than that, you should not be calling vendors, making a commitment and having them send us an invoice. We have that's against our policies and procedures. The state requires us to enter into a procurement contract, which is our PO, with the terms and conditions. The requisitions will route automatically in the system behind the scenes. You don't have to enter in an email address like you did with the dynamic form, the IPR. It will automatically route. So we have tried to build the approval queues based on your division and who, based on your security is tied to your org code. And so if you're entering in an org code, that person responsible for approvals for that group, that division, it will automatically route to that person. The only thing we don't have a resolution for yet is an email notification to notify the approver that there's a requisition in there to approve. So if you do key in a requisition, please let your department head know that they need to go in and approve a requisition today. And let them do that. We are working on a solution, but for right now, prior to go live, we're not going to have it ready, but eventually we're going to get there. Any questions? Okay, are we ready? Let's go into our finance splash page like we did yesterday. We're going to key in splash.mwcc.edu. And for those of you online, if you have any problems, just do a shout out. So once you log into Finance Self-Service, this is the training only. Just like yesterday, we're using this site so that, and this will be up until we go live. You can test till your heart's desire. This will be up. The only thing that you'll need to do is just to remember the transaction date when you go in and you put July 6th. I'll show you that in a minute. In July, you'll go to your regular Web Connect icon on the Internet portal page at the bottom to access self-service, just like you do now for budget queries. Yes, ma'am, Kathy.
So I need requisitions, real requisitions.
Correct. Not right now, until July 6th.
Okay, because I've got some performers waiting contract.
Okay, talk to me after. What I have asked departments, I think Sarah might have been in that group, contracts that are expiring June 30th that we need to have cut, go ahead and submit that IPR to Matt for anything that needs to be cut for July 1st. Matt will go ahead when he gets back from vacation tomorrow. He will key those requisitions in for a July 1st date and have them ready, but the users won't have access to enter requisitions until July 6th.
Yeah, these are performers for August that.
So that can wait.
That
Yeah.
they're like, on my back, like, we need this contract or we can't guarantee your date.
Oh, they need the contract signed?
They need a contract, they sent me their contract
Yeah,
that I would normally attach. when I
Yes.
did an IPR, so.
yeah, let's talk after. Let me see that situation.
Okay.
So I can judge if it can wait or not. Okay, so when you opened up your self-service, this is what the home screen, what you should have. You should have all these new tiles. You'll see on one of the tiles, it will say My Requisition. Depends on the location of what you have. It should be on the right side, but it may not be. But if you click on My Requisitions, and it will take you to a page that looks similar to the same page that you had for My Journals. For those of you that attended yesterday, this page, this is your My Requisition dashboard is what I call it. You have your sections. You have draft requisitions, so anything that you enter, just like your journals, anything in draft, you can go back in and edit and change and make changes to it. Anything in pending is anything that you've submitted and it's pending approval, and your completed requisition. So there's different categories that will show up on the left-hand side, and you'll see your requisition. So to create the requisition, I'll cover more later. As we do more, you're going to see more activity appear on this dashboard. So if you click Create Requisition up in the top blue box on the right corner, it will take you to the requisition header page. And you will see this is the default. This comes up as default. You'll see your requester, your name will be there. You'll see 3 different sections. As we go through the requisition, it will move forward. So right now we're in step 1 in requester information. So you're going to enter, if it's not you, if it's for someone else in your department that you're requesting it for, you can put that name there or your name. You're going to, just for practicing, you're going to put the date of July 6th. Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to show you, these are the defaults on this screenshot. So your requester name on this page will come up with your name because your user ID is what's entering the requisition. The transaction date is the date, the current date. Your chart 5 is the current chart that you're going to be keying the requisition to. Your ship to location, it comes up as default Gardner location. And notice at the bottom that, I'm sorry. Notice at the bottom, the ship to location, the attention isn't completed yet. So this is your default and what it comes up when you first enter into the screen. So I'm going to keep, sorry, I'm going to keep my name as the requester on the requisition. We're going to put July 6th as the date. For a delivery date, I always put 30 days from the date of the time I entered the transaction. So I just generically chose August 6th. You can choose whatever date, if it's a certain date that's a hard stop on, like June 30th, it has to be delivered on or by June 30th. If we were keying that, you would put June 30th there, no matter what the transaction date would have been. But we're going forward into next year. So we're going to put 30 days from then, from the transaction date. I'm going to put my email address so that if someone needed to contact me, they know who to contact. I'm going to enter down here in the bottom left. It's a box. If you kind of scroll up, it will show you more. But the public comment section is the purpose for the requisition. Your organization code, this would be your home code. So what is your home organization code? What organization code do you belong to as your home code? Goes there. It can also be, well, I'll show you on the next screen. So I'm not going to change the ship to location. I'm going to keep it as Gardner. And I'm going to add my name to the attention box. And when I do that, you will see that it has changed and it has added my name down below on the attention and the ship to location. Then you're going to go over to the right and you're going to scroll down. Is everybody with me so far? You're going to come over here and you're going to scroll down. You're going to see the bottom part of the email, or not the email, I'm sorry, the bottom part of the screen, because you want to get to the next. You want to get here to that next box. Notice that the submit requisition box is not blue, it's still grayed out. So this is telling you that it wants more information on that requisition before you can submit it. And we know that because we're only on step 1, right? So is everybody with me? Fagan?
What's the public and private comment
It attaches to the actual requisition, but it doesn't print. Mary Beth?
Public comment prints on the requisition, private comment does not. So if there's something that you want maybe Matt to know, who's reviewing the requisition, or your department head or whomever that's going to be reviewing it, put it in your private. Anything that you want potentially that might need to go to your vendor as part of the PO, we want to put it in public.
Okay, so the private ones would say internal and WCC.
So the question for those of you online, I don't know that you can hear, was what's the difference between the public comment and the private comment? The private comment would be for something if you want to inform Matt of something on the PO or some special instructions or something that's going on that you need to communicate. The public comment is, it does print on the requisition. You might want the MHEC. Yeah, I would put the contract, MHEC contract number in the public, so it prints. Yeah, so it prints. All right, so once we hit next, it's going to take you to step 2, which we're going to key in the vendor information. Notice up here, the requisition has assigned a number. So the header went through successfully and it's assigned a requisition number. You can see the number appears here right here on the right, left, as well as the comment box on the top right. So you're going to click the down arrow box and you're going to choose Amazon Capital. So type in Amazon Capital, and what you're going to see is all these different addresses pop up for Amazon. We will be cleaning out a lot of this in the near future, but right now, find the address that best matches the address of the vendor. Matt will be instructed to review the vendor addresses before he converts the requisition to a PO. So he will be double checking the address, the vendor address, that it was selected correctly. So then once you select the vendor, you're going to hit the next button. And up here in the top right, you're going to see another green box that says you've updated the requisition successfully and it's moved to step 3. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to choose an item. So click on the drop down box and start typing AA because we're going to order some batteries. And you'll see the batteries will pop up. Select the item, hover over it, select it in blue. It will pop up it will change. It will ask for a unit of measure. It will ask for the quantity, the unit price. And then you're going to scroll down. So we're going to enter. I put in a package as the unit of measure because I'm going to order 1 pack of batteries. So I'm going to enter 1 pack. I'm going to order package. I'm going to enter quantity of 1, and I'm going to enter the unit price of $24.99. And I just put in there batteries for office. And we're going to click save.
gonna talk about if the commodities that are, if you go to find a commodity and it's not on the list or in the drop down, you can just type the commodity directly into, or the item directly into the field. You won't always find everything that you ordered in that list.
And that's my next example.
Great.
So we're here at this page. You see it added the batteries. You get the successfully added to requisition message. Now we're going to go in. You also see that it's added it to the list over here. It's the running list, running total on the requisition. It's also here. Now, as we enter another one, this is going to shrink up and all the details going to hide away. It's going to hide. You'll just see the description, not the detail, but that's okay. We're going to click on the box again, and we're going to type in moving boxes. And you'll notice moving boxes doesn't come up because it's not an item that is a choice, but it's okay because you can still you can add it by just clicking add as a new item. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to enter your unit of measure. We're going to say each. We're going to order 20 of them. We're going to put the unit price. And I'm going to click save. So it brought up, we have two items. We have commodity of, we have AA batteries. We have moving boxes. If you want to hover over, click on AA batteries to see the detail, you can do that. And then it'll shrink the moving boxes. It'll minimize the moving boxes box. All right. So now we've added our two items. We're going to add the accounting. So you're going to click add accounting. Make sure your chart 5 is selected. Leave the index blank. We did not build indexes in chart 5 for you to use yet. You're going to select your fund code. I think this was showing you so before we select the add accounting, it summed, I wanted to show you how it totaled the entire amount, $724, but we want to split the accounting on this order. This is what comes up as default. So if I want to split the order, I'm going to click split accounting. And I'm going to choose for the first item that T10 or T1210 College Trust is the fund code that we're charging the first item to. 5,200 because we've decided that we're going to charge this to facilities.
Erin, I'm sorry, I don't have the split accounting.
I don't either.
You have to change the distribution percent of the. Thank you. Welcome. I missed that. I did too, also. So if you put the distribution percentage at like 50% or whatever.
No, you don't.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes.
I just lost yours. That would have been good.
Thank you. Thank you. So yes, so the question was, how do you get to the split accounting? And I did not. Hold on 1 second. When you write your home page and that full amount comes up, what you're going to do is right here, you're going to change the distribution amount. I want the $700 to charge one way, and I want the batteries to charge a second way. So the first FOPL I'm gonna key in, I'm gonna choose the $700 for moving boxes. So the distribution amount, I'm gonna change to $700. And it's automatically gonna calculate the distribution. So if you just put the amount. If you want to do a 50-50 split, you could just put 50% on the distribution percent, and it'll do the calculation of the amount for you. I apologize for missing.
Sometimes I share, like, so I might write a forward
Mhm.
and I might share the cost of that forward with a completely different cost center.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yes. And so you may not have access to the org code. So you'll need to communicate that to Matt that it needs to be split funded with another org code.
And then it would go, like, say I share with the Rural Center X transition. So then does it backtrack for signature to them?
It goes on the primary signature, I believe, for routing.
There's not, so for most of you, unless it's like, so, let's take, student affairs, for example. If it was two groups within student affairs, there are certain individuals, like Jason and Sarah, who have access to everybody's org codes. And so Jason and Sarah can actually enter in that requisition that has split accounting.
So for those of you online, the question was by Kathy Matson. There are times when she splits a requisition with another cost center that is not under student activities. Mary Beth is explaining that if you are splitting a requisition within your division, the person who has access to everyone. So for example, Kathy Matson is splitting a PO, so Sarah Savoy would have access to all of the org codes in that division. So she would be the one to enter the requisition for the split funding because she has access to the org code.
So we'll follow up on.
If you are splitting a requisition that is not in your same division and you don't have anyone accessing that org code, we'll have to have Matt split fund the requisition. And that just needs to be done. You can call Matt, or we'll just have to work through a process for you to do that. You could probably put it on the private comments on the first box to let Matt know that whatever the amount is that needs to be split, and what the FOPL is for that split can go in that private comment section on the requisition header. So for right now, we're going to demonstrate how to move $700 to the facility department FOPL to have them pay for the moving boxes. And then financial services is going to pay for the batteries. So in order to do that, we're going to change the distribution amount to $700. And it will automatically calculate the distribution percent. So when it comes up, you're going to code the fund code. You're going to identify the fund code for the $700 of T1210 trust. You're going to have 5200 as the organization code. We're going to code this to EO1 for administrative supplies. It's going to automatically populate the 170, but if it doesn't populate for you, you'll have to key in a program code. The $700 is the amount that we're charging to the facilities org. So you will see that the split accounting has shown up here as a button that you can choose because it's recognizing that it's no longer 100%, so you must have a second code. So you're gonna select split accounting, and it's gonna bring up a second FOPL string, or opportunity for you to key a second FOPL string. You're gonna key in the fund code. The distribution amount will automatically give you the balance. If you're going to split it a third way, make sure that you'll change it here as well. Because if it's not at 100% at the end, it's going to know that you're going to split the accounting another time. So you could split it 3 ways if you have 3 grants. But because we're only doing 2, we don't need to change the amount. That is the amount that's left. That's the distribution amount. we're going to enter T1210 for the college trust. We're going to keep 5001 for financial services because that's who we want the batteries to charge to. It's going to still be EO1. And the 160 has changed automatically because the 160 program code is what the org code 5001 belongs to. And then we're going to click the save button. So look what's happened here. When we get back to the header, it's going to the summary. It's going to tell us that accounting was added to the requisition. It's green, so we know that it's good. If you had a message that's in red font, that's not good. You'll see here funding is at 100%. That's what we want because it's split two ways. So it's added it up and it knows 100% what's being covered. Now, your submit requisition button is now blue. And you're ready to submit. Before you submit, this is where you attach any documentation. You'll attach documentations the same way you did for journals. For budget entries, you click the attachment button, you click on file, and you go through the steps, pretty step by step. Once you hit submit requisition, it's going to ask you, are you sure? But look what happened. It's telling me there's no budget. So something has happened between the time we were doing the requisition and now. So now I have to, I hit no. I have to go back. I have to look at my budget. I have to do a budget transfer. And then I can go back into the draft and hit submit. So it takes you back to your dashboard, your My Requisition dashboard, and it's showing that you have a draft requisition. It's showing that the Amazon that we just keyed is in a completed requisition. It did that for me because I don't have approvals turned on, but the way it should work for you, what is that? Oh, wow. Okay, so your Amazon capital processed. It's showing completed. If you want to ever see where your document is, if you get a pending requisition, there's this box that says it's in approval status. So it's in someone's box waiting to approve. If you come over here and you click the I button, it will actually tell you who is set up for the approver. So you could call them and let them know it's still sitting there or notify them that they need to go in and approve it. There are other types that it could be. It could be besides in approval, it could also be in assigned to buyer. So that means it's gone through all the approval steps and it's now with Matt. And Matt has to look at it for compliance. He also has to turn it into the purchase order. So once it's assigned to a buyer, you can still see it's still sitting as an R, as a requisition. Once he completes it and he converts it into a PO, it will say converted to PO and it will say PO completed. If you click on the I button, the I icon here. So for those of you that do need to go in and approve, it's very simple. You have an approved document tile. You type in your user ID. It will probably populate to your user ID automatically. Your user ID is next approver. That is what you want to select to see what is required of you to approve. So just make sure that that button is marked. You're going to hit submit. You're going to see you have one requisition. You have the ability to approve or disapprove. So if you want to look at it as an approver, if you're not familiar with what your staff is entering for you, for the department, you can click on the item and it will bring up a document that will give you more information. You can even get it into this format as a PDF. So remember, if it's blue font, you can click on it. If it's blue font, if it's underlined, if it looks like a hyperlink, you can click on it, drill down. It will open up all the documents that are attached and that are assigned to it. And once you approve, it will show up here on the top right in green that it's approved. Yes, ma'am, Kathy.
On the approver, does it automatically show everybody that might be in the queue? Cause it's showing Jason, but it's only for $124.99.
Right, I was wondering the same thing, because mine's showing Anna, but it's not that much.
The budget manager, they're still listed as an approver, right? So yeah, so they have to approve it after you enter it as authorization to order.
So Kathy, for example, what board code are you using?
3002.
It's saying Jason is.
Yep.
Mine is, I used A&T and UVMS, and it's saying Anna has to approve. So it's saying Fagan, Anna, and then Monique on mine.
Interesting, okay. We're gonna have to do some research. I'll probably call the two of you.
Okay.
The only thing that I can think of is because you're entering the requisition, but
But it's still
Yeah.
going to go to Anna unless it's.
no, the only reason to go to Anna would be if it's over $5,000.
Right, same with
Um,
Jason.
So let me follow back up with you guys and we'll do some troubleshooting.
Lynn,
If you do this split, one of them goes on to 500, should it then be on P card or we get split it?
the P card, you can always do a PO.
But the original was 700, so it couldn't go on P card, but once it gets split, should the one that goes under the 500 be P card?
No. No, it would be splitting a transaction. And so anything with a vendor that you need to order, the total for that vendor and the order is, regardless of how you split and pay for it, still needs to be under $500 on a PO. I mean, on a procurement card.
So
Yes.
if we are set up with Amazon to do the orders and have them to go through the process and then Matt approves them, are we still doing that? And are we still doing? I guess, so are we doing that and then doing the requisition this way, or? What's the cause right now when I do an order and I have very large orders, I mean like hundreds of items that come in at a time.
Mhm.
If I have to key each one of those in individually on these requisitions, I need more time in my day.
I'm with you.
So, cause normally we just put it in the Amazon, send it through, and I put in like order 8422.
You wanna answer that?
And then we attach that.
So Matt had been entering every line item on the requisition after he got the order. There are times when the order could be entered as one amount, but
But the process now is to go in, place the order through Amazon, and then go in and do
the requisition.
requisition.
And do it
And
line
then
by line.
line by line,
not
so if
by-
I'm ordering 50 notebooks, 50 calculators, 50 rulers,
Yes,
times.
because the delivery, it doesn't come all in one delivery. And so we have to know what has been received, what can be paid. Say one of those items got back ordered, we have to back order the item or cancel it off the PO if the item got discontinued because the item is so large.
You may, I mean, what you can do is you don't have to do, you may not have to do extensive detail.
Correct.
Like, if it's, you know, you get a box of pens and this and that, and you don't have to put the.
So the question right now that we're discussing in the room is about Amazon orders. And the Amazon order, you go in online and you order it itemized, but then you have to turn around and enter the line item detail on the requisition. Say you have 100 items on the request for the Amazon order, it still has to be entered line by line on a requisition. Previously, Matt had been doing that. Departments are going to be required to do it. You don't have to duplicate it line by line in as much detail as it is online. You can simplify the item. But yes, if you're entering 50 items from Amazon, it has to duplicate the order on the PO, on the requisition.
You might be able to copy a PO or a copy requisition that you created.
Okay.
We have to look at that a little bit.
Because like, you know, trash bags, it's gonna be like 2 or 3 item codes, things like that.
It seemed like almost we did like moving boxes and whatever that we did as an example, it seemed.
It won't actually.
Oh, it is?
No, although you've added as an item, it
Yeah.
doesn't actually save to a large directory.
Okay, so we're going to enter as another test. We're going to do another order. So let's go back to your screen. We've got 4 test instances that we're going to run through. We're going to do another one with multiple items. We're just going to charge it to 1 FOPL. And for those of you online, you're free to practice. You're free to stay online, but there's not much of a presentation after this. We're just going to go through these examples online, hands-on, and assist you as you key them. So if you have questions online, please feel free to ask. Are you checking chat? Okay. Okay, so we're going to go back to the screen and we're going to let you enter the Amazon order on your own. I'm going to walk around. I'm going to help you. The next item that we're going to order is memberships. Then we're going to do direct pay of 2 invoices. And then the final one is a blanket PO. Okay, so these are 4 examples that we're going to enter, and I'm going to walk around and assist. Okay.
Yeah, order from Amazon makes 3 items. Is there ever a place where we would like, come on, it's Amazon business, but I got level accounting?
Oh, I seriously.
Wachusett.
Okay. If you know that you're gonna do that, you can't cheat. That's. Okay. Okay, so nice to meet you. I'm pretty name, but.
Oh, God.
Outside.
Oh.
I think I got this pretty good, but most of my
Okay.
Okay, we're okay to do that.
Then it says, let's see, then
That was just.
it says, for.
You have actually, it's
So it's just missing everybody. It doesn't. So it's not. So like first.
So.
She's not. And could yeah, just do the. Yeah. Yeah, she's gonna be. In the baby showing the whole cute.
Go for it.
Protection.
It was, I know it was always not.
I just wanna make sure that
But,
it's not.
Yeah, that's on the next. Like, they'll say this is gonna go rush for that.
No, no.
It's all in for $12, calling it.
No.
Say each.
Yep.
Yes. Here in the beach box. That was the one that was really nice.
The first night, first time, we told the sort of maybe, awesome. Next week, awesome. Once, I'm a little bit.
Yeah.
Need some sleep.
Yeah.
First group kept on sleep. Karen, growth and beautiful. There's something next time. Was that neighbor? All we do is. So that group, I just ended up beach. How many hours in the morning?
Okay.
Yeah. So, that was quickly. Retreat went well.
Really awesome. Really awesome. But the was good. Not only that's like you said, like it was good, it was helpful. No.
No, I think it does. I did that. Sounds good. It's not the extreme.
Yeah.
There's style.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the first thing is stuff.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Learn.
Okay, well, we're just.
On a quote, you just have to put it and the items I quote on. No, I was. You know, tag it up like. I was thinking in my head about that. I'm not filling up an affidavit. No, I'm not doing it. So when I. Things aren't.
No, it's. Yeah.
What were you gonna ask?
I just.
Sign.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not if something has a requisition. I don't know. So. Probably, yes. Yeah. So we brought my list of questions, so. So would be that. And then.
I mean, so each of them are gonna see.
Right. They also were, but then in next example. Speak. Right. It's in my mind. But it really is not. So we're receiving. Right. I think it's today's last names. Nice. That's why.
No, that was another. So Matt, this is Karen, Matt Raymond. For your question, yes, if you're ordering 10 of the same books, you're just going to order a quantity of 10 and you're going to put the item number as the book, right? And the book number. But we have to have the books as line items and it could be, if it's the same book, you put the quantity of that book, but we have to have them listed for receiving purposes so we know what we can pay, what we've received so that we can pay the invoice correctly. I'm going to talk to the group about quotes. Hold on one moment. Okay, we're gonna do, the next thing we're gonna come in here and let's do a blanket PO. So a blanket PO is going to be accepted for when you have things like Nate just brought up a good topic of cleaning supplies. Say he has a blanket order. I'm sorry, he has an order for cleaning supplies that he needs for the maintainers, and he orders this throughout. He gets a quote from the vendor. We don't need that item to be itemized because we have the quote. And as long as the quote is delivered, we're all set. The quote number would then go in as the one item, item number one, and you'll enter the quote. You'll enter the item number, item description as quote, and then enter the number of the quote. And then that quote is attached. You don't have to do anything more with that if you have a quote.
If it was something that we were gonna use for the entire year, which is June 30th, as the end of that blanket CO?
You can. So for like reimbursement for mileage,
Sure.
so that's one where we would just do a blanket.
Yeah.
And then you pay it as as they drive, as they submit their requests. You'll do a blanket PO. Blankets are good for something that's a recurring expense every single month, or it's a frequent use of. Cleaning supplies is a really good example because we'll enter the requisition for say $3,000, and then you can spend off that $3,000 the entire year for those cleaning supplies. And we just enter that as a lot and as a blanket. And it's the same way. It's entered the same way.
Right. Unless we need to sit down and.
So we just had a question for reimbursement of mileage. We do a lot of that on campus. The vendor is going to be the employee. That is the vendor because we're paying the employee for that mileage reimbursement. So for example, if I'm putting in a mileage reimbursement and I'm going to say $300 and $300, I'm going to use that for the year that I'm allowed to travel, that vendor is going to be my name. Okay. And then you're going to put in a blanket for mileage reimbursement. You enter lot as the quantity, and then it's simple.
So,
Yes.
but can I ask? Yeah, do that total things. If I'm going through talking about number of calls, so I went in. Okay, so I'm gonna just use myself as this one.
Let's just take some.
Weird zones. So I'm not in as a vendor. Essentially, so do I have to choose vendor?
You know.
For trial. In the last. My last name correctly, right? Here I am. Here you go. Okay, so last name.
If you're having trouble finding employees as the vendor, try the last name, enter the last name first, and it should populate. If you have a vendor that is not in there, if you cannot find it, call Matt. We're going to need the W-9. We're going to have to set them up as a vendor like we normally do. And that's going to be separate. It's just emailing the forms and everything to Matt to set them up for a vendor.
Okay, so instead of putting it in with all that information, it has to be done prior.
It has to be done. Vendors have to be set up prior to the requisition. Yes.
So that includes like all the forwards and everything.
Yes.
Oh.
So we'll have to send those down first. Yeah.
When you're doing the blanket PO and it goes to the item, what do you put in for an item?
Blanket PO.
Is that?
No, we can. I just,
Should be.
yeah, we are in change.
Oh, no, it says add as new item.
That's fine. Add as new item.
No, I just decided to do.
Put lot.
What?
Lot.
Lot.
Mhm.
A lot. A lot. Big ones. Big ones.
So if you do enter, if you're entering the blanket PO online, if those of you are practicing, for the unit of measure, you're going to put lot, L-O-T. That allows us in accounts payable to key multiple invoices against that PO, against the amount. And we will not close the PO until it has depleted the amount of the blanket.
Okay, because we're not. That's okay.
We're gonna make experts out of you yet.
So. I should get, and you're in the national guard.
Yeah, I think you're a nice, rolled option program.
I know. Right now, but I was.
That's a good point.
So I text.
Yeah, so I'll probably do that.
You're.
And we'll just do that behind. Right, thanks.
Like travel and then travel to reimburse.
Is it up? Short.
Is there?
So.
It's not now.
So. So you're in.
So the NHGC 26.
So what was your issue with?
Manager day, then we have some retire. So should I just adjust something in the just that those that I know on the side and yeah, I know it's not live.
You can also make sure that you can.
Okay. Okay.
You guys.
And then sorry, yeah, so
Maybe you don't share, but is there an org? Okay, well, I know that there's two on there.
is it
Tricky.
I don't have to use
Then that too. Yeah, so sorry. I'll go through.
I'm
Yeah.
trying.
The size and I'll double.
Are they symmetric?
So it's nice. Yeah, man. Yes.
You get one photo of some. Yeah. This is. When I do the rest of the IDR, it says this cost associated with the entry. First, we're gonna like all of that.
Megan's gonna hire these guys. It's gonna be a fun summer. A summer camp, you may have a summer camp. You may have a summer camp. It's gonna be awesome. It's on Fitchburg State, you don't have to worry about it.
Fire science class.
Yeah, fire science. Then we set things on fire and show them how to put it out.
Because math hits in an evening.
Right.
And so if you're changing your all these.
Are gonna be, it'll be study ready, it'll be whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, which is fine.
Has to, has to go back.
Yeah.
No, perfect.
That's
Yeah,
it.
I don't.
So you're not-
Yeah.
No.
Oh, because if you.
Check everything with Jay.
Yeah, because we used to like.
Easy.
So. Oh, no, we did that, oh my god. That one was working.
The other one. The other
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So it's, it's a journey.
And are we also?
That sounds good.
You can change it. I mean, if it's something like we're gonna laptops for students, that makes sense, that would go through. You can choose. Yeah, I was changing it because I was like, just, that's what I, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then last question I had right now, I see all of the budgets from all the departments.
You see all the, so it's for all the departments or already those like on the outside. I've seen that. Oh, this is what so I'll be able to see the ones on I've seen. Okay, thank you. And I also have to sit down maybe the leader. Right. So I wasn't on that. I don't know me right. It's writing some there. This table's getting more. So I don't know if I should use it.
So then.
They all flip up. So they're all. Oh, this was.
She has problems.
Just don't know what it is.
Yes.
Yeah. And so. Or secondary. Maybe the word started right. Right now, it's just fun, I guess not listening at her budget. And I don't know. It's their check today for Marcia, we started $1,000 because it's $7,000 worth of transfer fee. There's not. Kicking out. There's some budgets on this, right? So the budget is stopped before it was successfully submitted, right? Keeps teachers looking at the budget. So it'll stop there, they'll come and talk to me and say, yeah. So it doesn't really matter. Really okay.
So why is that?
Not there. I actually did not as nervous last year because I think. Think that something about Stephanie's right? Which is you got the dollar amount
So I.
and
So like.
the when I that isn't the expectation of Stephanie is, and I was talking about this. You're processing your own person's girlfriend, like, and I am not able to replace the user I see to your responsibility, you're using it, or I'll put it. And I will reconcile it to your budget, but I am not chasing it. But it's for your responsibility. It's true. So we're
Okay, did everybody successfully insert the blanket?
So now. I guess the other. Yeah, like I just. So we're in. But yeah. Yeah, I guess it's easier to forward an email versus. Saving it from whoever. Yeah. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know if you guys saw it. Okay. I would like to use it as for dues. Yeah, I have to go through the rain, so I will. If you want me to process it, which is. I'll put it online. There's not. Okay. Because I just don't want to. My feelings. Well, you don't. You don't put it in town. And I want to do that, but I'm going to the river limit. I'm doing what's still on it. Like I'll pull this. Right, so maybe as far as that, so maybe it's not that the chief is the current pieces, so for me to do that for one of those, maybe that is not this. Sorry. Because can I isn't necessarily, yes. I never, that's what I was told to do. So I get it if you let it or not, if it's. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No orders. Facebook, Reddit, Facebook, Reddit, or a couple of other ones. I'm used to that.
Okay, for those of you online, Did you have any trouble at all with the requisition? Entering a blanket PO?
That makes me.
Let's see. Still the order drive.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've entered the blanket PO. Okay, here's an example where we have two invoices that we're submitting. We have a vendor, first student. We're submitting two invoices and we're going to split fund these invoices. And see how the amounts are different? 918 and 135, they're different than the amounts of the invoices. So this was a great example for us to pull. So your vendor is going to be first student. And your item is going to be invoice 1 and invoice 2. And then you'll attach them. You'll attach the actual invoice to the journal header. Yes.
So is this one that the delivery date should be the same day as the transaction date? So if it's in invoice, it's already happened.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone need help? If you're doing this. No.
We are still practicing. Does anyone online need assistance? For those of you that, if you have not, you need access to self-service banner. This was the last page.
Ideally,
We're
yeah,
not,
so that's actually my, because.
Yes.
Because that one is invoices for Boston.
Because that's how we've always
Right.
done our busing.
Right.
So my question is, should we be establishing a blanket PO for busing?
Yes,
from
ma'am.
now on?
Yes, ma'am.
And
Okay.
if we know that it's going to be like $10,000.
Mhm.
Can we just do a blanket PO for that much?
Yes.
Or are we gonna have to run into like, we need to get.
No, buses is one of those, we're gonna have to go out to bid. And I have asked for, when I was at the CFO conference last week, I asked a couple of the procurement officers if they had some that we could look at and share. I realize our issue here is that we don't have one vendor that could do everything, that the different sizes and different needs that we have for the buses. For right now, until we can get that bid out, we're gonna have to do what we continue doing, but we just need the PO to be a blanket PO in the beginning, and then you can split fund it. The blanket
So-
PO,
So if I'm doing,
Okay.
so do I do one PO split between all the grants, or does each grant need their own blanket PO?
I would probably do a blanket for each grant,
Okay,
only because you don't know if an invoice comes in. I don't know, Donna.
Either way, you could do one PO and have like a line for UPMS, a line for concert. You could do it that way, and when we get an invoice. We'll have to ask you which grant it should.
so what happens, so most of our invoices are going to be split. So would I then, can we still split it if it's on a blanket, and would I just tell you like, this, same thing, this amounts from UVMS, this amounts from.
Same way we do it with like, Peter's travel or,
Raise
Raise
travel, yeah.
You put how much is coming.
So for those of you online, the question is if you have a split PO, you have bus transportation, requisitions.
So we typically don't use first student
So the
was, like,
question is, do we do a
Leominster High School.
Jess Connors has
They-
multiple POs that use buses. So the question was, does she keep one requisition with multiple splits on the FOPL? Or does she do a blanket PO for each individual grant code? And it's really your preference.
So if we,
Multiple vendors can be on.
so if I need to have one for first student, because that's the way Leominster insists that we do their busing. I need to do a blanket for first student, and then I do a blanket for McCarthy that I book.
You could do a blanket order by vendor.
Because I know
Yes.
one bus company.
Right.
like,
I
and
think it's
sometimes
going
that's
to be a
sometimes
conversation
that's-
between you and us in finance to decide what's the best option for you, because the invoices come in for payment. They could have multiple trips on the invoice. And so you will have to have you identify which PO needs to be paid on which invoice if the vendor doesn't reference the PO.
Busing.
So this is going to be a big transition for these buses and the POs. So eventually we'll go out to bid, but for right now, I would probably enter the requisition by vendor,
Well, and that's,
do a bus PO by vendor.
and so if we're both using first student, just using them because they were, that's the example.
Yeah.
But it's different for if suddenly we're jumping in with McCartney and yours isn't over, but mine puts us over just passed and we're going out big, so that's a mention in college, or is it because we're doing all that? No, if I feel over 50 to go out to bed. Oh, whatever it is, it's like if we.
So we are winding down here. As you practice, the practice test page will be up for you for however long you need for practicing the journal entries or the requisition entries. We'll keep the financial site up for testing. If you run into difficulties, please notify me, Matt, Donna, anyone in financial services. We're trying to keep a troubleshooting spreadsheet up so that we can, if you run into issues, if you run into questions, we're trying to add them to our spreadsheet so that we can consistently keep track of the issues and resolve them for you. So just let us know what issues you're running into, and we will try to find the resolution and get back to you with an answer. So for those of you online, we'll disconnect, and thank you all for attending, and have a good day.
Know that we talked about, we used to, in particular, we used to use FAT